women can't lead. Women can't win. They will always be outsmarted and outmuscled.
Truthfully, I feel trapped. The election just happened, and let me just say, seeing the red digits on the map slowly increasing doesn't provide for a solemnly sweet slumber. When you see stories on men's Instagram mocking the election that it's just a joke and they like him because he's funny, who cares that your girlfriend's rights may be stripped? Who cares that her pregnancy might fail and you might be widowed? Oh wait, sorry. He's the widower. According to English dictionaries, when a man loses his wife, he's the widower rather than the woman who would be the widow. Because men don't get things done to them, only women. Even when he's the one losing his wife, he claims the title of doer rather than loser. My friend recently needed to switch off birth control because of a complication regarding other meds she takes. Sure, there's the option of an IUD, but if you asked a man to stick a copper rod up his genitals, only to know that you're awake for the whole procedure and the only pain meds they give you is a bloody Advil? I knew red pills were hard to digest, but when something is supposed to heal you and only brings you more pain, how am I supposed to wash that down with water? Maybe I'm starting to hate the color red. It used to be something of power, something of boldness and beauty, the main character's carefully curated color palette, the easiest word on our grade 2 spelling test, the symbolization of love and romance. But when numbers and pills and period blood all share the same hue, then what am I left with but the mindset that red only brings bad? Red represents fury, and fury is what comes after a road of rage has been paved, after you press down so hard on the gas pedal to get away, but you end up running others over in the process. Red is the flag that waves you down after once believing that he was healthy. It's the shock on my fingertips when the water burns a little too boldly. I hear about the neighbors fighting, and the shedding of blood and tears. What was the cause? An inconsiderable man, the one who wasn't mindful of his strength, bruising his loved ones around him and never admitting to his faults. When mother asks him to help with the dishes and he sighs and complains that she was nagging, when the nagging only started because she spent the whole day cleaning up her own trail of blood, the one that the doctor sewed up for the sake of making the man's pleasure good, because who cares about consent when it's a man's world, and God forbid he feels that she is loose. God forbid that the man doesn't feel pleasure after she gave birth. I live in a world where we beg male doctors to take us seriously, one where unless it's a female, we still fear our lives in the sanctuary of what is supposed to be safe. For centuries, we have been called hysterical, emotional, hormonal. Our pain and suffering has been dismissed, but the second you strap a period simulator on them...
Oh my god!
What level is this? Truthfully, I feel trapped. In a world where men can freely take advantage of women and the women almost always face the consequences alone, how often do you hear the man assault the woman and still sticks around for the kid? How often do you hear that he pays for child support? How often do you hear a man support the bastard child conceived of a traumatic memory? How often are they still loved by the mother? We're always pro-life until it comes to raising the kid. Sure, it was born. They were all born. What now? A strained relationship between mother and child, one where she can't even stand to look her own daughter in the eyes? A child born knowing that they were conceived out of an evil act in which their father was the prime suspect. Imagine being that child and knowing that's how your parents made you. I'm sure this touches the hearts of some of you, but the rest? There's no changing your minds, I bet. You already view women as objects for your doing, not even people. Just dishwashers, maids, pure virgins that you can screw over until you see no value in them. Maybe you're trapped. Trapped in your own version of reality where men do have more value, men should have more rights, and women are nothing but eye candy for you. But truthfully, I have pity for you. I have pity that you'll never know how to make a woman feel safe. You'll never meet a high-value woman who genuinely respects you but fears you. And if you need fear in order to gain respect, that's called laziness. I have pity because as much as you might be a provider of shelter, of food, of basic needs, you'll never provide comfort, emotional support, or inspiration. You'll never be truly loved for your character. Sure, you might have a house, but I don't think you'll ever have a home. I've seen with my own 2 eyes how this game works. You'll marry that beautiful, kind-hearted woman, but because you already don't see the value in her other than status and doting eyes, one day she will leave you. Your kids will hate you, and you'll be left with nothing but a sluggish body, loneliness, and a drinking problem. But that can all go away, right? If we force women to stay, to conceive children, to become our secretarial slaves, who cares if they like us? The only thing that matters is that we own them. So, of course, women will see this. Before, the only thing making women want to get married was the exchange of goods, things like money, a dowry, a house, and perhaps status. I suppose if men can't offer love and safety, we might as well reap all the other benefits, right? But then when we have this mentality, we're called gold diggers, but perhaps the real gold for us is love, but if love is no longer an option, survival is our next level offer. So for those of us women who refuse this lifestyle, the one given when we do perhaps rely on men for money, when we are stripped of our financial independence, then yes, being single and providing for ourselves is in fact the better option. Maybe this is why women don't want families or marriage anymore. Yeah, sure, we had something to gain back when we couldn't afford that on our own. But now that we have our own jobs, our own lifestyles, our own set of willingness to raise kids, what do men offer? Before it was the concept of providing, but when women can provide for themselves, what now? And see, This is where men really are trapped. I don't think they realize that there's more for them to do, or maybe they see it and refuse it, and that's why we're back to square one. Why bother changing and giving more of themselves when clearly we can just force women to stay? Why bother being a better boyfriend, a better husband, or a brother or partner when it's easier to just take away women's rights again? I can see us going backwards in time. I do hope that I can fulfill my own heart's desires and career goals before that's not even an option. Perhaps it's a never-ending karmic cycle, one where the red digits have invoked another pattern of history doomed to repeat itself. I hate the color red, the day that red doomed us, the day that red became fury, the day that red represents the blood on the hands of women who may suffer or pass because boys refuse to step up and be better men. Today marks the day that I see them as red, and boy do I hate that color.
You were wrong. There is something more dangerous in this world than a humiliated man.